rolling already. All right. And I'm looking at this camera. All right. So, hi, my name is Greg. I was homeless for almost a year, and thanks to some very wonderful people at Hope House, at the Royal City Mission, at Stepping Stone, the Guelph Public Library, I've not only found housing, but I found meaning in engaging and serving my community. I had a fairly successful career in the software industry, and uh, I think everyone can relate to some ups and downs with mental health. I had some pretty severe mental health issues that I dealt with over kind of the course of my adult life, and I managed to stay kind of right on the cusp of just surviving and delivering in my career. About 3 years ago, I started experiencing some chronic physical pain that it's been an ongoing mystery, still trying to figure out the cause of the physical pain. I tried my best to continue in my career, and in about February of 2022, after having moved to Guelph from Toronto the year before for an incredible job opportunity, I realized that the physical pain was getting to the point where not only the pain itself, but the stress that it added on my life, it meant that I just wasn't able to work any longer. And unfortunately, I didn't have any short or long-term disability coverage with the job that I was in, and I had not been very good at managing my finances over the years, so I wasn't in a position to support myself financially. I wasn't able to stay in my home, so in March of 2022, I stepped through a door into the world of homelessness. Uh, that was kind of my final recourse, and uh, I'm I'm an avid outdoorsman. I have been my whole life. So my first inclination, and what I did for most of the year, or close to a year that I was homeless, was live in the woods. And I found I found a kind of determination, motivation to succeed in that despite my pain. As my physical pain started to take more and more of a toll on me, I was still determined to survive, to live on my own terms. So I lived in the woods in and around Guelph for the first few months. I had some friends in Brantford who took me in a little bit over the summer, and I spent a lot of time up in northern Ontario on some property they had up there. So living out in the woods up there. In the fall, I was living in the woods. I got connected to a friend of a friend who had some property uh, near Huntsville, kind of on the edge of the Muskokas. So I was living there. And then as winter approached, the uh, the impact that the cold weather has on exacerbating my pain became too much. So I returned to Guelph in early December, and that's when I started staying at the Stepping Stone, which is emergency shelter. That's one of the services they provide, is an emergency shelter at 23 Gordon. So I started staying there in early December, which is for someone who you know has lived kind of the middle class life. It was a very surreal experience to be immersed into uh, the culture of the homeless community. I honestly, a little bit scary at first. I learned about Hope House from the the people that I met as we, waited outside for the doors to open. In conversation, I learned about, where we go during the day. So, what services are available, where do we find warmth and food. My first morning after staying at the shelter that first night was my trek from the shelter up the hill, and and I landed at the doorstep of Hope House, and what a wonderful experience it was when the doors opened on that first morning. I came inside, climbed up the stairs, and was welcomed with some nice hot coffee, and even more meaningful than that were the warm smiles and hellos from the staff and volunteers here at Hope House. I think it was probably in that moment that I knew that I'd be okay. As life seemed to be dumping more and more on me, right, from overcoming the deepest parts of my mental health struggles and finding a way to excel in my career, to then getting hit with this chronic physical pain that became so debilitating that I had to leave my career, and then not being able to even live the life that I chose, kind of in the woods, among nature, kind of in my element, and having to come back to the city of Guelph, which I love the city of Guelph, but having to kind of suck in my pride and accept services like the shelter, and accepting food from Hope House and the mission. I went through a period of significant self-discovery. I've often described myself as almost a pathological problem solver, and ironically, that mindset probably added to my stress with dealing with this mysterious physical pain. But in terms of the mindset and my own, how I dealt with that on an ongoing basis, I've been an avid lifelong learner, so I looked to podcasts and experts. Dr. Gabor Maté has been a huge influence in my journey, especially over the last year. Most significantly was an episode on the Rich Roll podcast, which is actually way back, October 25th, 2015 was when this episode came out. And I encourage anyone who is watching this, please check out this episode. It's an episode on the nature of addiction, and it was a paradigm shift for me, and really helped. It shaped how I interacted with the community here at Hope House, the community at the mission and at Stepping Stone, and the people who I'm very honored to call my friends now, and have helped carry me through my journey to this point where I've been housed for over a month now, and continue to come back to Hope House and the mission, and continue to engage with Stepping Stone, because I truly believe that every single person is worthy of compassion, dignity, and support by any means.